Bama faces another stiff test on the road this weekend in Como. Can they come away with another win? Let's talk about it right here on Tide Talk Live. What's up, everybody? Welcome in to Tide Talk Live, powered by the Believe Network. Stacy Blackwood, joined as always by my good buddy Jake Thomas as we get ready for Week 7 of the college football season. Alabama coming off another big win over Vanderbilt at home. They're back on the road this weekend to face another undefeated opponent in the Missouri Tigers. Can't wait to break that game down here in just a few minutes. Jake, what's up? I know you're ready for Saturday like I am.
Yeah, man, I'm excited, ready for Saturday. Just got a couple more days to get through here, but yeah, it's a great matchup, and like you said, we're going to talk about it, but there's going to be a lot to talk about here because outside of what people think, Missouri's got a pretty good team.
Yeah, yeah, that's it's they're undefeated for a reason. It's more than
Right.
just because of their schedules. But like we'll talk about that all that here in just a second. As always, please make sure you like, share, and subscribe here on YouTube. We are also powered by the Believe Network, which makes us free and available wherever you find your podcast, whether it's Apple, Spotify, Amazon Music, just wherever you find your podcast. Search Tide Talk Live. Make sure you follow, subscribe, download, and leave us those written reviews as well. We would greatly appreciate that. Also, plug in here. Make sure you join us over on our Discord server. You can find it linked where on all our social media platforms, even on our YouTube page. You can find the link to join it there. So make sure you join us, and we'll try to put a link in the description below as well here on YouTube, so you can join the conversation there. It's free, it's fun, and we talk football, baseball, basketball, whatever, any topic whatsoever. We even have an off the topic thread that we have going on. So
And
if
we
you want to
also had the Ryder Cup a few weeks
yeah,
ago.
we did. So
Also,
if you just want to talk ball or talk life
hmm
with some Bama fans or whoever, join our Discord server, Tide Talk Live, and just have some fun with us over there.
yep,
Jake, big time matchup this weekend
yeah,
on the road, SEC top. What's Missouri ranked? Top. I know they're in the top 15.
yeah.
Just an incredible matchup there in Como. Uh, I, I debated, we usually start with the way we do our preview and prediction show. It's like, let's talk about the Alabama offense against the opponent's defense and the opponent's offense against Alabama's defense. But I
Right.
kind of wanted to mix it up a little bit this week, and because this is a really tough opponent and they're undefeated, they're playing really well. They're coming off a bye week, and I wanted to look at it from a little bit different perspective, Jake. And so, having said all that, what is the biggest area of concern for you in this matchup against Missouri? Because this is a dang good football team.
I mean, obviously, it's got to be Hardy, running the ball, and the defense has gotten better a lot. Last week in the second half, especially the stopping Vandy's rushing attack with Shea Alexander, and for some reason we talked about that they only gave him the ball out 4 times in that game. I guarantee Missouri's not going to give Hardy the ball 4 times in their game. So we've got to keep him in check because this is a kid who can bust off big plays and he could have 150 yards rushing just like that. We got to keep him in check if we're going to have a chance to win this game for sure.
That's definitely the biggest concern in terms of how this Alabama team matches up with Missouri, because
Mhm.
there's no denying that so far this season it's been a bit of a struggle for Alabama's defense to consistently stop the run. Now,
Right.
I think for the most part, they do a pretty fair job, but there has been way too many occasions where they have given up explosive plays in the running game. I mean,
Yep.
Georgia had 4 or 5 explosive runs in that
Right.
game. Florida State had a couple explosive runs. Uh, Even Vanderbilt last week, their opening drive, a 65-yard touchdown run. I think
Mhm.
Pavia had a 30-plus yard run in
Yep.
that game last week too. So it's not so much the consistency at which teams get 4 to 5 yards on the ground. It's the consistency in which they break 30-plus yarders, and
hmm
that is a major concern against a team like Missouri, who not only does a good job running the football, but they have a really good quarterback. They have some playmakers out wide, and they couple that with a really strong defense. So slowing down this rushing attack is huge, and Ahmad Hardy is a heck of a football player. I mean, he's probably, I mean, in my opinion, he's the best running back in the country
Yep.
at this stage of the season, and I think he's averaging over 7 yards a carry, and it's not just Hardy either. I mean, it's backup Jamal Roberts who's also averaging over 7 yards a carry and has 350 yards rushing on the season. Oh, and by the way, their third string back has 200 yards rushing on the year and is averaging 5.9 yards a carry.
Right.
So this is a loaded backfield for Missouri. They have three quality backs. Really, it's two high quality backs in Ahmad Hardy and Jamal Roberts, who you have to worry about because those two guys are home run hitters. They break tackles. They run physical. They've combined for 12 rushing touchdowns so far this year. And this is not going to be an easy task for Kane Womack and this defense to slow this rushing attack down.
Yeah, it's not. And then you sprinkle in Bo Pabula, who can also run. So you've got double trouble in the backfield that you got to keep your eyes on all game. And you got to stay home if you're Alabama's defense. And I think they like to do a lot of RPOs, so we can't bite on those. And we just got to just stay at home, like I said, and press the attack once we find out who's got the ball, and just limit the explosive plays. And I think this Alabama defense can have a decent day.
Yeah, in terms of what this defense needs to do to at least kind of limit what Missouri does on the ground is good gap integrity from the second and third level.
Right.
So I think you saw it on the long touchdown run from Vanderbilt this last week, where I just felt like I don't even think it was so much the linebackers. I think it was the defensive backs not filling the lanes properly, and
Right.
it led to the explosive play. Now they still would have gotten 10, 12 yards, but that's a lot better than 65-yard touchdown runs. So it's just you have to play sound fundamental football, and credit to Coach Womack and this defense. It got so much better in the second half of that game. I think 22 yards rushing allowed the last three quarters against Vanderbilt. Now,
Right.
a lot of that, like you mentioned earlier, had a lot to do with the fact that for whatever reason, Vanderbilt kind of shied away from running the football. I
Hmm.
went back and watched the game, and some of that was on Pavia. He was keeping the ball on some of those
Yeah.
RPOs when he probably shouldn't have been, and that
Hmm.
limited the touches for Cedric Alexander. So I don't think you're going to see that type of performance from Missouri offense. I think you're going to see this team try to attack and out physical Alabama at the line of scrimmage with those stretch plays to the outside, and Alabama's got to be fundamental. I mean, it's going to be so important to set the edge in this game, and this is a game where
Hmm.
Quay Rusall or Jamarian Latham would be huge for this Alabama defense, but you don't have those guys. So
Right.
Yanze Pierre, LT Overton, uh, Edric Hill, uh, Jordan Renaud, those guys are going to have to play a good game against Missouri and do their job in terms of setting the edge for this defense to have success.
Absolutely, Stacy, and I feel like Tim Keenan needs to have a big game as well in the middle, stuffing the run if they try to run up the middle. So it's going to be a defensive effort from everybody in this game to keep this Missouri offense in check.
I thought last week, Jake, I had my doubts that Yanze Pierre would be physically able to set the edge consistently. And look,
Hmm.
he's still got a ways to go in terms of that part of his game because he's basically a pass rush specialist at this point of his career.
Right.
But I'm going to tell you right now, he played a really good football game last week against Vanderbilt. Was really physical. You could tell he made a lot of effort in making sure he set the edge and didn't allow Vanderbilt to get outside.
Mhm.
And I thought he played a really physical football game. I think he really only got tackled or credited for one tackle, but it was
Right.
a tackle for loss on a big third down play. So I think Yanze Pierre is kind of coming into his own and starting to live up to that 5-star billing he had coming out of high school.
Yeah, he is starting to become a star in the making. You just see flashes here and there. He's starting to hone in his hone everything in. He's becoming a great playmaker for this team. He's already a pass rush specialist, like you said. But what he did last week, and I think I mentioned it in our post game show. He only got credit, like you said, for one tackle, but what he did was able to set the edge and allow the other guys, like Justin Jefferson, to go out and have big games and make plays.
Absolutely. And as we're recording this, Alabama and Vanderbilt have released their first availability report for this game, Jake. And
You mean
Ryan Williams,
Missouri?
yeah,
Yeah.
Vanderbilt, Missouri. Ryan Williams is listed as probable.
Oh, I did not know
So
that.
I don't know what he's had, but out for Alabama, three obvious ones, and Quay
Yeah.
Russaw, Jamarian Latham, and Jeremiah Beeman, but also Caden Jones, the young linebacker, is listed as out, and doubtful is Jalen Mbakwe. Now for
Okay.
Missouri, Blake Craig, their kicker, Sam Horn, a backup quarterback, Logan Richard, offensive lineman, and the biggest one for them that is listed questionable is their starting left tackle, Caden Green. He's
Okay.
listed as questionable, and that would be a massive piece of this game, much like a couple weeks ago when Georgia was not able to send out their
Mm,
starting right tackle. So
right.
that's something to watch over the next couple of days leading up to kickoff at 11 on Saturday morning. Uh, in terms of this Missouri offense, we talked about Ahmad Hardy, we talked about Jamal Roberts, Bo Pribula, the quarterback. They have some really talented playmakers on the outside as well, Jake. Kevin Coleman's a really talented wide
Mhm.
receiver, a guy who was a really highly coveted prospect coming out of high school. He's bounced around a couple of different places. He's been to 3 or 4 different schools throughout his career. I think Texas A&M, Mississippi State. I can't remember all he's been, but he's been several places. But Brett Norfleet's a really talented tight end, a big guy, like 6'6". He can make plays in the passing game as well. Already has 4 touchdown catches this year. So that's a guy this defense is going to have to keep their eye on as well. So they're not a one-trick pony on the offensive side of the football. They are capable of making plays both on the ground and through the air, and that's why they've been such a successful team this early in the season.
Yeah, they can beat you in multiple ways, and it's gonna be a tough challenge for our defense, but as a challenge, I feel like we're gonna be able to once everybody gets settled in and we go out there and play ball and we make our adjustments. I think we're gonna be okay, but we're gonna have to endure the early onslaught because they're gonna come out running, passing, and whatever that they want to at us, and we're just going to weather that storm per se.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Another area of concern for me, Jake, is the pass rush that Missouri has to offer. They have two tremendous bookends that are capable of getting after the passer, and uh, y- you know it's Zion Young. You have uh, what's the other guy's name, Jake? His name has just completely slipped my
Yeah,
mind. The
I know
guy
who.
that transferred from Georgia,
Hmm.
who's a really good football player as well. But they have some talented pass rushers. Damon Wilson. I don't know why I
Damon
cannot think of
Wilson. Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Brain fart there. But they have two really good pass rushers in Damon Wilson and Zion Young. They have some good interior players. They have pretty good players at the second level. They kind of run that 4-2-5 defense as well, Jake.
Hmm.
They got that. I don't know if you remember a couple years ago when Kane Womack first come to Alabama. He was trying to get a guy from South Alabama where he was at, Khalil Jacobs, a linebacker, to join him in Tuscaloosa. Well, he ends up going to Missouri. He
Hmm.
he he plays for them. He's a really good player. He's got 2 sacks on the year as well. Um, they have a talented linebacker and Josiah Trotter, who I think maybe was a Clemson transfer, if I'm not mistaken, the son of Jeremiah Trotter, the former NFL linebacker. So
Yeah,
they have some quality players on the defensive side of the ball, and that pass rush is among. I mean, it's probably the best pass rush that Alabama is going to have seen so far this year.
yeah. It probably is, Tyson. That's kind of odd saying that when we've already played Georgia, but we know Georgia is just defensively is not the same right now that it has in the past. But yeah, this is going to be a great challenge for guys like Wilkin Formby who needs to step up and have a big game. Guys like Caden Proctor, he needs to have a big game and continue getting better. But overall, this offensive line, I do feel like is getting better each and every week. I know the first 2 or 3 games, there was at least 6 or 7 pressures sprinkled throughout the offensive line. I think the last like 2 games, the big games when it mattered, there was maybe I think 4 total pressures in both of those games. So this offensive line is getting better each and every week. It's just got to continue improving because, like you said, this pass rush is very good for Missouri.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right in the fact that this offensive line has showed tremendous improvement.
Mm-hmm.
I do think it's also fair to say that the last 2 weeks have not been opponents that you just absolutely
Right.
feared from a pass rush perspective.
I agree. Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
while I want to admit that, yeah, I have faith that Caden Proctor and the rest of that offensive line has gotten better, this is obviously going to be their biggest test. And you're on the road, hostile environment. It's going to be loud.
Mm-hmm.
How does the offensive line handle that, knowing they have to block really talented pass rushers in Zion
Right.
Young and
Right.
Damon Wilson? So
Mm-hmm.
that is going to be a huge part of this game because we all know that if Ty Simpson is given time,
Oh my gosh,
he's gonna
they pick
tear
you
you
apart.
up. He's gonna
Mm-hmm.
pick you apart, and Coach Drink even talked about it in his press conference this week is, if you go zone, he picks you apart. If you go
Mm-hmm.
man and he's got time, he's gonna find that one-on-one matchup he likes, and he's gonna deliver it accurately. So, it's really
Right.
kind of a pick your poison on how you defend Ty Simpson. So, one way you can defend Ty Simpson is making sure he's sitting on his backside.
Right.
And so if Alabama cannot protect Ty, it could be a long day for this offense. But like you said, I believe this offensive line has continued to get better. I think you're going to see a really good effort on Saturday. And if they do protect Ty, he could be in for a monster game because I do think there is plays to be made
Yeah.
against this secondary for Missouri. South Carolina threw for over 300 yards. And,
Mm-hmm.
and we know that despite how talented Lenore Sellers is, he is still somewhat limited in the passing game. So
Mm-hmm.
the fact that, he was able to throw for over 300 yards gives me confidence that Ty can do much the same.
Absolutely, Stacey. And one other thing I want to mention about the offense, not so much last week, offensive line, not so much last week because it was a home game, but that Georgia game. I think there was only one false start in a hostile environment.
Mm.
That's going to be critical this week as well. Don't play behind the chains. You've got to play in front of the chains. Keep yourself limited to like a 3rd and 2 situation. If you get in there, if you're getting false starts because of that crowd, and that's just going to amp them up a little bit louder. It's going to get even more louder, and it's going to be hard to hear the signals and signs from Ty and everybody else.
All right, Jake. We've talked about areas of concern for this Alabama team going up against Missouri.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what are some certain areas that you feel confident that Alabama can find some success against the Tigers?
Well, you mentioned it. That secondary, South Carolina, like you mentioned, had success in the second against their secondary. Jaden Daniels, I believe, had some success in throwing the ball against them.
From
So
Kansas.
from Kansas, yeah, from Kansas. So they kind of lit their secondary up. Ty is probably a much more better passer than either one of those guys.
Not
And
probably.
yeah, he is the better passer of those 2 guys. If
And the fact, sorry to cut you off,
No, you're
he
good.
has much better playmakers outside too.
Right. And if he gets time, like we just said, then he's going to pick this Missouri secondary apart. So I feel like if he does have the time, we are going to have success there. Um, so yeah, that's one place I feel like we could be very successful at.
Yeah, I think that's where you start at is
Hmm.
what Ty Simpson this passing offense has the potential to put up against this Missouri defense. And it does come down to protection, like it always does. But
Right.
Ty has also shown the ability that even when the pocket breaks down, he can make plays. He makes magic happen. I mean,
Hmm.
I go back to that third down play late in that game against Vanderbilt where he's scrambling out of the pocket. He's
Hmm.
nearing the sideline. He sees Zay Horton, just flips it out to him for a clutch first down conversion. I mean, he's a playmaker, Jake, and we talked about
Yep.
that. And he's a baller. He's a gamer, and his confidence right now is through the roof. His teammates believe in him. His coaches believe in him. But yet, when you hear Ty talk, I don't know if you've even heard
Oh, yeah.
how first of all, when somebody brags on him, he gives all his teammates the praise, and then
Right.
he's like, "Man, I got to be better."
Right. Yeah.
And we're talking about the guy who's probably leading the Heisman voting right now. I know it's early and kind of irrelevant, and is also already crept into first round NFL mock drafts
Yeah.
after 5 career starts.
Right.
So right now, Ty Simpson has all the reason in the world to have the big head, but he doesn't. He's remained humble. He's
Yep.
remained confident in his teammates, and consistently bragging on his teammates, giving them the praise. And while he takes the back seat and says, "I got to be better," that's a
Mhm.
leader. That's a true quarterback. That's a guy you want to ride with. And right now, Ty is playing as good as any quarterback in the country, which makes you feel a lot better when you're going on the road to face a tough opponent.
Yeah, I agree, Stacy. And you mentioned Ty being humble. I think he was asked last week about the red zone struggles, and he said, I took 4 sacks, and that was on me. He didn't blame anybody else. He took all the blame and said, I've got to be better, like you mentioned. So having a guy like that, it just boosts the team's morale around you, and just I think it plays a big factor whenever you have the team behind their quarterback, behind their leader. It just makes the whole team better.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
And I'll say this, Jake. I think I'm more confident in Alabama's running game right now than I was 3 weeks ago. And we were actually some of the few who were talking in terms of who talk Alabama football of how maybe we shouldn't hit the panic button just yet on this Alabama rushing attack
Right.
because there's plenty of reasons why they are not where we thought they should be. And so I we saw last week when you have a healthy Jam Miller, when the offensive line is starting to find its groove, this is an offense who can have a pretty dynamic rushing attack.
Hmm.
And I think if they can build off what they done last week, man, if this offense can somehow find more balance,
Hmm.
you're approaching a style offense. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying they're going to achieve this, but you're approaching a top offense where you have a passing game and a rushing attack that's similar to what you had in 2020 when you could line up and there's really nothing the defenses could do
Right.
but hope and pray
Yeah.
that you made a mistake.
Yep. Yeah.
And I'm not saying they're there yet. I'm not saying they're ever going to get there. I'm just saying right now they probably have the best passing attack in college football. I think that's really fair to say.
Hmm.
Nobody's playing as good as Ty Simpson right now. He's picking apart every defense he's played since his first career start on the road, including a Georgia defense who everybody loves, Kirby Smart and Glenn Schumann. Picked apart a good Vanderbilt defense who plays good, sound fundamental football, was in plenty of position to make plays, but Ty just beat you because he's just that good and that accurate, and he's got dudes on the outside. And it's not that he has 1 or 2 dudes, he has 4 or 5 dudes.
Yeah.
You can't just cover Germ. You can't just cover Ryan. You can't just cover Zay. You can't just cover Lotzier Brooks. You can't just cover Cole Adams. You can't just cover Derek Meadows. I mean, there is dude after dude after dude. Josh Cuevas, Caleb Edwards, Danny Lewis is getting healthy again. Jam Miller out of the backfield, Kevin Riley out of the backfield. How do you defend this passing attack? I don't know the answer, and I think every defensive coordinator is asking themselves the same question.
Yeah.
And then you add on the fact that last week Jam Miller rushed for over 130 yards, and he looked healthy. He looked fresh. He looked quick. He looked decisive. He looked explosive. If that type of play continues, this offense could be special.
Yeah. I agree, Stacy. And you talk about the Russian attack and how dynamic it could be. I just while you was there talking, I was just looking back that that year that they went on their championship run, or to the national championship game. Dylan Johnson had over 1195 yards, and that was with Kalen DeBoer and Ryan Grubb.
Hmm.
That so
They
they
want to
know.
run the football.
Right. They know how to scheme and get guys in position to have success on the ground. We just didn't have, like you said, we didn't have our number one running back at the time. And the offensive line has kind of been a work in progress, but it's getting better, like we mentioned each and every week. The running game is going to come around, and it's probably going to come around, and we're probably going to start seeing, Jim Miller have breakout games, and probably start seeing Kevin Riley have big games as well. Just don't give up on the rushing attack yet, because it's slowly but surely getting there to where it's going to be.
While we're talking about the running game and the offensive line, I want to ask you something real quick.
Mhm.
we've seen so much rotation along the offensive line. We've seen a lot the last couple of weeks. We've seen a lot of Will Sanders at left guard in place
Yeah.
of Cam Dewberry. We've seen a lot of Will Conformby at right guard and Michael Carroll at right tackle.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel that this coaching staff is maybe starting to put things in motion for that to be the future of the offensive line, even as soon as the next couple weeks?
That's very, very, a very good possibility, Stacy. I love Jaden Roberts, but apparently he cannot get healthy enough to see the field right now. And that's very unfortunate because I really thought he was going to have a big time year and be a leader on that offensive line. But when you're hurt, you kind of get passed up in the rotation. Now you're seeing guys like Sanders get opportunities, and Formby is now getting an opportunity at your position at right guard. So you're kind of getting shuffled back in the rotation per se. And I hate it for Roberts, but yeah, you can kind of see how the future is going with, how they want to build their offensive line. Like you said, for the future, but you're starting to see that right now as well. So, and you kind of see on who they're choosing and recruiting trail as well on the offensive line. So you kind of see that playing in motion, like you said right now, Stacy.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Mhm.
obvious this coaching staff wants to be a little more athletic along the offensive line.
Yeah.
Will Sanders is a lot like Parker Brailsford in the fact that he's not overly big, but
Hmm.
man, is that kid athletic and he can play in space. The way that he can pull is so similar to Parker. So I
Hmm.
think it's interesting. Now Cam Dewberry's a really good player. He's a mauler. He's a punisher. He moves people
Right.
in the running game, but
Hmm.
he's not going to be able to get out in space and attach to a defender in the open field
Right.
and finish him the way that somebody like a Will Sanders could do. And
Mhm.
that's what this coaching staff likes to do. It's
Yeah.
not an indictment on Cam Dewberry. It's just a
Right.
style of play.
Right.
And the same
Exactly.
thing with what Jaden Roberts, he
Hmm.
doesn't really fit the style of what Coach DeBoer and Coach Grubb really want to do on the offensive line. And Big Mike Carroll, Jake, he is just I mean, he was the highest rated freshman offensive lineman this last week according to
Yeah.
PFF. I
Hmm.
mean, that kid has got a special future in front of him, and
Hmm.
I think it's probably more likely that we just see a more offensive line by committee approach for
Hmm.
this season
Yeah.
than we see a more set in stone group, unless certain guys just without leave no doubt at their position.
Right. Yeah.
So I could see where it's more of an offensive line by committee, especially for the near future. But I, the truth is, I don't mind it because they've all played really well. I mean,
Yeah.
none of them are a liability. Some
Right.
do certain things better than the others do, but
Hmm.
none of those guys are a liability. I wouldn't even consider Will Conformby a liability as a right tackle.
Right.
Sure, does he need to be a little better in terms of beating speed rush? Yes, but he's not a liability. It's not like he gets beat every play.
No, he doesn't.
So, I'm confident this offensive line is just gonna get better and better the longer this season continues, and the good thing about playing so many players up front is if injuries do happen, you have an experienced guy you can roll in, and that makes you feel good as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to bring up the injury side of it. If something happened, you're playing, 7, 8 guys right now. You're going to have somebody that's got game experience and game time to get in and play and plug in, and no issue, no drop off whatsoever.
Alright, Jake, bold prediction time, buddy. One of our favorite segments every single week.
Hmm.
We usually try to do one for each side of the ball. I don't know if that's what you plan to do tonight, but
Yep.
let's hear your bold predictions for Bama, Missouri.
First, offensive
Alright,
side.
let's hear it.
Caden Proctor gets a touchdown pass or to go
Oh my goodness.
touchdown run this week. We're gonna be like at the 1 yard line. We're just gonna give him the ball and just let him bulldoze somebody over.
I
You know?
think at this point you have to.
Yeah, yeah.
If the opportunity presents itself where Alabama has it first and goal, second and goal, whatever it is at the
Mhm.
1 yard line,
You got to give him the
you
ball.
got to get the ball to KP.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm going to go that he gets a touchdown run this week. And on defensive side, I'm sticking with the guy who seems like who's the hot guy right now, and that's Justin Jefferson. I think he's going to have another great game just because they like to get outside and run. And I think he's going to force another critical fumble that may change the complexion of the game for the Tide.
Love it. I
Mhm.
love both those picks. One, because the Caden Proctor scoring a touchdown would be
Oh my gosh!
the most fun I would I would have in a long time in terms
You
of
know,
somebody scoring a touchdown.
and
And just
Daniel, Daniel Moore is making a painting of the.
he may have to start a new one
I know.
if that
I got
happens.
I got to get one for my man cave whenever it comes out.
For sure, for sure. And Justin Jefferson played his
Hmm.
best game of his Alabama career last week against Vanderbilt.
Hmm.
I love the way Coach Womack used him
Yes.
as almost a, they would bring both. They would have all three off-ball linebackers in the game
Hmm. Yeah.
on certain third down situations. They would have him, Nikai Hill Green, and Deontay Lawson, excuse me,
Yeah.
on the field at the same time. And I thought
Dang.
that was really interesting. Justin
Very.
Jefferson's ability to play in space is huge because he's got
Yep.
tremendous speed and closing ability. And
Right.
I'm like you; he could be in for another big game. Love both those bold predictions.
Hmm.
All right, Jake. Offensively for me, I'm going to go back and reach into the well again. And I done it last week. I said Alvin would have a 100-yard back.
Yeah.
Jam Miller done that.
Yep.
I think Jam Miller does it again this week.
I love it.
And I'm going to have a 1A on this as well,
That's
because
fine.
while I do think that Ty Simpson is going to have a huge day in the air, I also think there's going to be some explosive plays in the running game. You've said it for a couple weeks. Kevin Riley's going to bust one before it's over with.
Right. Yep.
It could be this week.
Yeah.
Defensively, Jake, I wanted to go with Justin Jefferson too, but
Hmm.
I'm going to give the other off-ball linebacker some love this week. I think like last week was Justin Jefferson's week. I'm
Hmm.
going to say this week is Deontay Lawson's.
Okay.
I love the way they're moving this guy around.
Yeah.
Obviously, playing that off-ball linebacker spot for the majority of his snaps, but he's also getting some work as kind of that edge rusher in certain situations. And I'll tell you what, he has done a lot better at that than I thought he would.
Hmm.
I mean, there was several reps last week against Vanderbilt where if it would have been such a tremendous and elite rep from their offensive lineman, Lawson would have had a sack because he bull rushed. He
Hmm.
he moved from power to speed really well. I think he's going to make some plays in this game. I think they're going to try to feed Ahmad Hardy and Jamal Roberts, and I think Deontay Lawson is going to eat it up. I think he's going to
Yep.
have a 10-plus tackle game this week, and
I love
and
it.
and and really flash the Deontay Lawson of old before all the injuries happened. So big days for Jam Miller and Deontay Lawson, and
Yep.
I'm excited about this game, Jake.
Hey, if Lawson and Jefferson both have 10 tackles apiece,
Woo.
and that means that one means that Alabama's either scoring a good bit and Missouri's having, playing a lot of catch up, or it's a really close game. They're still running the ball a good bit. So we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. But yeah, those are very, very good picks. And I feel like the old Lawson is coming back. The guy you saw in that Florida State game on that 4th-and-1 play where he got absolutely bullied out of that hole. I don't think you're going to see that type of Deontay Lawson anymore this year.
Yeah,
You the guy who
I'm with
hits
you.
that hole and
I'm with
he's
you,
going
and
to attack.
you better bring it against Ahmad Hardy because he's going to bring it. I
Absolutely,
can guarantee it.
absolutely, yeah, for sure.
All right, Jake. We've made it to our official score prediction segment. Um, man, I've went back and forth on this score so much. Um, I, right now, FanDuel has Alabama as a 3.5 point favorite. The over and under set at 52.5. I don't know what to make of any of that, Jake. I don't know what to make of this game because Alabama's coming off back-to-back games where, they really had to win both of them. You
Right.
know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
I know you gotta win all of them, but they needed both those games. They needed that win over Georgia to get the Florida State loss out of the taste out of their mouth. They had to beat Vanderbilt because you can't lose to Vanderbilt 2 years in a row. So
Right.
you've had 2 really emotional wins back-to-back, and now you gotta go on the road to play a really good Missouri team who hasn't gotten beat yet, who's playing at home, playing with a lot of confidence, have a really talented players on both sides of the football, a coach who's confident in what he's doing, who's built a really good program, playing at 11 a.m. in the morning. I mean, this game has all the makings for an upset.
Mhm.
So I don't know what you make of Missouri. I want to talk about that for just a second before we get to our score predictions because they haven't really played any. They've played the two
Right.
teams with a pulse they've played are South Carolina and Kansas. And,
Mhm.
they're pretty decent Power 4 programs. They're not good. They're okay. They're good. They're all right.
Mhm.
But they haven't played a road game yet.
Yeah.
So we don't know what they look. I mean, even though this is at home, what I'm saying is the two teams they played with a pulse, they were down 2 scores to Kansas early. They were
Mhm.
down going into the fourth quarter against South Carolina. So it's not like, even though they're undefeated, it's not like they're just dominating everybody they played.
Right. Right.
So I really don't know what to make of Missouri.
Yeah.
And Alabama, on the other hand, they have been battle tested, Jake,
They have.
on the
On the
road,
road.
at Florida State, on
Mhm.
the road at Georgia, at
Mhm.
home versus Vandy, at
Yeah.
home versus Wisconsin, who is a Power 4 team.
Right.
So you have a battle tested team against a team who's played a bunch of soup cans.
Mhm.
But man, I still think Missouri's really good.
Oh yeah, I'm not going to take anything away from Missouri. They've got a really good program, a really good team, well coached team. I think a lot of people kind of underestimated Eli Drinkowitz when he first was hired on, and he's changed that program around from winning, you know, 5 to 6 games a year. They're winning 9 to 10 games a year now. I mean, he's changed the complexion and the view of Missouri football for the better for them. But this game here, Stacey, and me and you have not talked about our scores, and mine may be outlandish, but I don't care. I'm going to stick with it for the sheer fact Alabama's strength of schedule is three.
Mm,
Missouri's is 109. Now,
mm,
again, not taking anything away from Missouri, they got a ton of talent. They're really good, but like you just mentioned, this is going to be the best defense they played, best defense they've seen. This is going to be arguably the best offensive team that they've seen, and we already know what an offensive team kind of does. And I really don't really see South Carolina being an offensive team because they've had some sputters this year. But you've seen what Lenore Sellers did to them. And I will say one thing about Missouri. You talked about them being down 2 scores early, and they was down in the fourth quarter against South Carolina. They know how to come back and win games. So that's a good positive for them. But I think once Alabama weathers that early storm, the 11 o'clock kickoff, the emotions. Talking about emotions, Stacey, next week is another rivalry, revenge game against Tennessee. That's got to be on the back of the minds too. Hopefully not, but you got to think that may play a factor. But on the road, 11 a.m. kickoff, the emotions going to be very loud. I think once Alabama weathers that storm, starts playing their game, if I sound like a homer, so be it. I don't think anybody in the country since week one can hang with Alabama. And I'm thinking Alabama wins this game 35-21.
man, we're so close. We're on a man. I can't believe that's your score prediction.
Yeah.
So close to mine. It's so close to mine, Jake. And I think this game is actually going to look a lot like the Alabama Georgia game,
Mm-hmm,
where Alabama kind of does what it wants to do offensively.
mm-hmm.
I just think they have a little more success in the red zone than what they did against Georgia.
Yeah.
And I think Missouri kind of has the same sort of success offensively that Georgia had. Probably not to the extent of running for 250 yards, but they
Yeah.
might.
They
But they
might.
might.
Right.
So I see a real similar game. I think, and I'm going with the score prediction that I had for Georgia, Alabama, or
Mm-hmm,
roughly that.
mm-hmm.
But I'm going to pick Alabama to win. It's so close to yours. I say 34-20 Bama.
Wow. Yeah.
I think Alabama, like you said, at their best, I'm not sure there's a team in the country that beats them.
Right.
Maybe Ohio State, maybe Oregon, maybe
Right.
Miami,
Mm-hmm.
but at their best, and I don't think we've even seen their best yet.
No, I don't think we have either.
And that could be this week.
It could be.
So I just feel like Alabama's, and this may be oversimplifying it, Alabama's just got more dudes than Missouri has.
Right.
They got a better coaching staff than Missouri has.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not a shot at Missouri's players. It's not a shot at Eli Drinkwitz. It's
Right.
just a matter of fact.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Yep.
I just think Alabama, it's tough because Missouri is coming off a bye. You talked about weather in the early storm.
Mm-hmm.
You have to get out of the script plays with the least amount of problems as possible.
Right.
So
Exactly. Yep.
you can't get down 2 scores early in this game, Jake, or it's going to be hard to come back because of how effective they are at running the football.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So,
Mm-hmm.
but I do like Alabama in this game, Jake. I think there's just too much offensive firepower from Alabama. I think they do a better job in the red zone. I think that's a point of emphasis for this team over the last couple of weeks, considering what happened against Georgia in the second half and what happened against Vanderbilt for really the second half of that game as well.
Mm-hmm.
So finishing drives with touchdowns instead of field goals more times than not, and Alabama comes away with a 34-20 win, moves on to 5-1 on the season, and gets ready for that third Saturday of October matchup against the Tennessee Volunteers.
Man, I'm so excited and ready for this game. It's, Thursday and Friday needs to get gone and out of the way so we can, I'll probably be about 4 cups of coffee in by 11 a.m. But I'm gonna be hyped up and ready to go. And I hope the team is too. We can't come out flat in this game for sure.
Nope.
Cannot come out flat.
Now, one thing, and I didn't think about this. I don't remember where I heard this from, but somebody mentioned on a show I was listening to how it's interesting to point out that Alabama they do practice in the mornings.
Okay.
So does that give them an advantage? I don't know. And I'm a firm believer that early morning kickoffs favor the road team.
Right.
Because there's less distractions on the road than when you're at home.
That makes a lot of sense.
So that's just my opinion.
Yeah.
All right, Jake, anything else you want to add before we wrap it up?
Nah, you had a 1A guy on, on the bowl prediction. I'm just going to, I think he's going to have a big game, but keep an eye on Josh Cuevas. I love the way we use him. And I don't know what it is that kid's catching everything in his area right now. And I'm just really talking about, was it Northfleet? And a lot of people don't talk about Cuevas being a top tier tight end, but he's really solid in the passing game right now. And he's been a safety blanket for Ty Simpson, especially on third downs.
Yep. He's a critical piece of this offense for sure.
Yep.
And Ty even talked about this week of how important Cuevas is to the passing game and to this offense. And there's no doubt that he could play a big part in this game. I want to before we wrap it up, I want to talk. I'll just real quick. I know we're 45 minutes in nearly or so.
Yeah.
But you talked about the job that Coach Drink has done at Missouri.
Yeah.
And I haven't really thought about this, Jake, but over the last 3 years, you know who he is equal to in terms of record-wise, and this is another SEC coach, and this SEC coach receives praise and glory and all the attention. Any idea who I'm talking about?
Kirby Smart?
Nope.
Lane Kiffin.
They have the same exact record over the last 3 seasons. Yet Lane Kiffin is considered the next great coach. And I would argue that it's much harder to do what Eli's doing at Missouri than what Lane is doing at Ole Miss.
I agree.
I could be wrong in that. That's just kind of my opinion.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying he Drinks is a better coach than Kiffin. I'm just saying that's pretty interesting.
Very interesting.
I mean, we're just 2 years removed from Coach Drink and Missouri beating Ohio State in the bowl game.
That's true. Yeah.
So,
and Ohio State won the championship last year.
Yeah. So Drink can coach. He can coach.
Yeah, absolutely.
In short, Coach Drink can coach. He's going to have his team ready. And he asked Coach DeBoer in the teleconference, which is I've never heard of another coach asking his opposing coach of that week a question during the SEC teleconference, but he asked Coach DeBoer if he's going to wear that black hoodie.
Right.
So Drink's funny guy. He's a funny guy. He's definitely an acquired taste, but he's funny, and I think he fits Missouri really well.
He does.
But anyways, guys, that's going to wrap it up. Really fun show, Jake. Love diving into this matchup. I've been chomping at the bit to do this all week, and uh,
Yeah, me too.
cannot wait to see this game on Saturday. Big time matchup in the SEC between Alabama and Missouri there in Columbia, Missouri. Anything else to add, real quick, Jake, before we hop off here?
No, roll tide, guys. I'm ready to go. Let's go, boys, and get out there and win and get back home, and let's get ready for the third Saturday in October.
I'm ready, man. I'm ready.
Yep.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please make sure you do like, share, and subscribe on YouTube. Jump in the comments. Give us your thoughts, your bold predictions, your score predictions, and just how you think this game is going to play out on Saturday afternoon there in Como. Also, make sure you check us out on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, just wherever you find your podcast. Search Tide Talk Live, follow, subscribe, download, and leave us those written reviews, and we would greatly appreciate that. But for Stacey Blackwood and Jake Thomas, this has been Tide Talk Live. We'll see you again real soon. And until then, roll tide.
Roll tide.